Well, if you take it at face value, for some of the producers, it could literally wipe out all of their global profits. Probably the worst affected here would be Remy Quanto. If things went in at face value, they make about 30% of their global sales in the USA, and 90% of that is imported from Europe. So that's about 30% of global sales, and you put a 200% tariff on that, it literally more than wipes out your global profits.
I mean, that's extraordinary. And when you look at when you listen to the potential impact and you look at the share price moves yesterday, it suggests that investors aren't taking this seriously to the extent that we could actually see a 200% tariff come into play. Is that a fair read, that the market has become nervous but isn't pricing in that worst case scenario right now?
I think that's true. And I think you have to put it in the context of, let's say, the previous Trump administration, what they did. So the first thing is, there's a very strong family link, if you like, between Donald Trump and the Arnault family, who controlled LVMH and Moet Hennessy. And certainly, I don't know if that was the reason, but cognac and champagne were not under tariffs last time round. So it's possible that some of the spirits categories escape this tariff. I think the second thing is the 200% number. If you think about other disputes that are going on at the moment, we're talking about a threatened 25% tariff on Mexico and on Canada. The EU has put a 50% tariff on US whiskey, which has prompted this tit for tat. But 200% does seem high in the scale of things. Now, I think one has learned never to underestimate the Trump administration and the potential for things to happen. So I think perhaps investors are being a little bit too blasé about the potential that there is a real risk it could be a 200% tariff.
I wonder if Bernard Arnault is regretting turning up to inauguration at this point, Trevor. But let me ask you about how brands manage their exposure to countries, because this is not new in terms of geopolitics for some of the big alcohol brands to navigate. They've seen it in China when there was a real pushback against gifting very expensive alcohol and items like that. And the message was that they didn't want to rely too much on one jurisdiction just in case something went wrong. But when it comes to the United States, it's very hard to manage that exposure, right, because it's so large.
It is. I mean, and if you look at the European spirits companies, their exposure to the United States is varies. So roughly between 20 and 30% of their global net sales are spirits brands sold in the United States. The US is a huge market, a very valuable market in terms of the premium market. So it's just too big to ignore. And inevitably then one has to cope with what happens if 20, 30% of your eggs are in one basket.